Start your week smiling with your friends, Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. It's time to get ready for some weekly motivation with WP Motivate. Happy Thursday, Kathy.
Happy Thursday, Michelle. How you doing?
Good. Last week when I said that, you're like, oh, it's not Friday. And yeah, I still have a feeling about that every time we record on Thursday too. It's like, shouldn't I be saying happy Friday? But yeah, it's getting close. The weekend's close. We're
It's
closing
getting
in on the
close.
weekend.
Labor Day kind of screwed me up. Like ever since then, it's been like, why is this week so long? What's going
I
on?
know. Same. But Thanksgiving's coming like in a month and almost 2 months, right? And then it's the 3-day weekend. I mean, 3-day week.
Yeah.
So.
But that's like in the heart of Black Friday. So is it really a vacation?
I know. I love that I was like, oh, we're off on Friday. I mean, we're not technically off. We still have to work. We can take a day off, whatever. But I just monitor all our social channels all day long on Black Friday. It's what we do. But I still do it like watching movies on my couch. And not, doing other stuff. So it all works. It all works.
Yeah.
But I have a topic for today. Sometimes we're like, we don't know what we're going to talk about. I actually have a topic for today. So I love nationaltoday.com. I go through there frequently. It's a great way to pull ideas for social media. So for example, this weekend, I think it's Saturday, is Online Education Technology Day. And so for our product LearnDash, I can do a post like, hey, it's Online Technology Day. We're really grateful for all of you who are teaching blah, 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 right? So I can make social posts out of those kinds of things, hit the right hashtags, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A week from Saturday is International Podcasting Day. And I'm kind of excited about that. So I had an idea to include lots of podcasters in the WordPress space. So I'm not going to say a lot more about it in case it doesn't actually happen, but I think it will happen. I think I got some people excited about it. Very tight turnaround, but hopefully sometime next week we'll be able to share something kind of cool about International Podcasting Day. But it also got me thinking about the fact that there's so many of us in the WordPress space who do the same or similar things, right? So like, you and I work for Liquid Web, which is a hosting company. You work with Cadence, which is, in the page building space. I work for all our brands. But anyway, like I worked with Give before and, all of those kinds of things. And I would go to events and people would be like, oh, like, how come you're friends with, so-and-so over at Green Geeks or over at, GoDaddy? Because like, aren't they competitors? I'm like, the people who ask that question usually aren't in the WordPress space often, or don't really frequent the community, I should say, whether they're using WordPress or not. Because the truth is, yeah, kind of, right? Like we're competitors, but number one, there's enough to go around, right? Everybody can eat at this table.
Yeah.
And number two, when we contribute to the community in those spaces, and you were saying beforehand, you said it way better than I did, but when we bolster others, we lift ourselves up too, right? So yeah, how did you say it? You said it way better than I did.
Well, like in the software space, at least, like, so I'm repping Cadence and also, all of the other stellar brands. It's not like I'm exclusively only talking about Cadence, because we have tons of like LearnDash. I'm doing something cool with LearnDash right now. Ooh. I think it's an amazing tool. So much fun. iTheme security, passkeys. I'm really super excited about that. And I'm also, super excited and passionate about security. So there are people on Green Geeks who are using those products. There are people on Liquid Web. There are people on GoDaddy. There's no like, I don't know. I don't think that even in the security space, I was at WordCamp US and it was so funny because it was the first day there was a security talk. Somebody from 10 Up who gave a really good, decent security talk. It was good. So there were a bunch of people I had been talking to online and like Facebook groups like the Admin Bar, and Grid Pane has a really good Facebook group. And we were all like, oh, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've seen that malware before. And so we became, just because of our common interest in security, we became really good friends. We're all competitors, but it was so funny at WordCamp US. We're like all meeting each other in the hallway. Hey, there's a security talk. You want to go? front row, all of us all across this one table, and then like one agency guy, and I'm like, hey, how's it going, and he's like, oh yeah, I got the site that keeps getting hacked, and I'm like, you won the lottery.
Yeah.
Because it's like, but it's like, oh, we're all competitors, but we're
Yeah.
all friends because we're all
Yeah.
working towards the same common goal, which
Yeah.
is focus on the customer, which is focus on someone who's trying to build something with WordPress,
Mhm.
building out amazing things with WordPress. And we want them to be successful no matter what stack they have, no matter what
Yeah.
decisions they're making, no matter where they're hosting. Because if they're successful with WordPress, what does it do to the WordPress community? What does it do for all of us? It
Mhm.
elevates every single one of us. So really, it's like, I don't care about the hosting. I don't care about the software or the brands or who you're repping or all of that kind of stuff. Like, who are you doing it for? These end users, these agencies that are like working with end users, even like everybody's trying to do something. As long as we stay focused on that as our common goal, whatever you're doing, you help one person, you're going to lift up everyone else. And that's what it's all about. So
Absolutely. So much so that in WordPress now, there's at the Make WordPress Slack channel, there's a movement, and I think Matt Mullenweg even talked about it at WordCamp US, that all of the different LMSs are kind of working together to make sure that that there's some portability between solutions, and that we're all kind of approaching things the same way to be able to provide the best solutions regardless of which of our brands
yeah,
a creator decides to use. And I think that that's a really cool thing. I mean, are we going to share trade secrets and things like that? Probably not. But are we able to come to the table and talk about how do we move forward as LMS systems, right?
yeah,
That's repetitive, as learning management systems, to do the best job that we can for content creators out there to be
right.
able to reach and teach. And I think that that's a really reach and teach. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that somewhere. Anyway, to reach and teach people.
Yeah,
Every creator is making content to help others in some way, shape, or form. That's why we do education. And so
yeah.
if we can help those creators to do their jobs, it really does make the world a better place a little bit at a time.
It does. And even with like new, like Cadence is working on Cadence AI, and it's been a long process because it's so innovative. It's so cutting edge. It does, but there's other teams out there that are doing really cool things with AI and WordPress as well. And everybody that's doing this is kind of like, here's what we're doing, here's where we're at, here's what we're doing, here's where we're at. And so we're
Mhm.
looking at, oh, look at that's really interesting. Hey, and they're doing the same with Cadence, and everybody's kind of borrowing ideas. And it's competitive, sure, in some respects, but it's kind of like a friendly competition because we're all moving towards the same goal, right? I don't think like, there's going to be like market dominance, like Cadence AI rules all AI for WordPress. Like it's just too interesting of a space for just like one brand to do something. But the innovation that's happening and the learning that goes back and forth, that happens more in the WordPress and who benefits from that is the end user, because
Yeah.
that collaboration across brands, that okay, here's what we're, the openness that all of these teams have and sharing what they're doing, it makes tools better for the end user. And as long as we stay focused on that, stay focused on establishing trust with our users and giving them things that are going to be useful to them, everybody really wins, right?
Yeah,
It's I
absolutely.
just Yeah, I just find there's just more opportunity and collaborating over competition. Yeah, and just even in like post status Slack, like you see conversations happening, like the security channel is like one that I watch a lot. I'm not that
Yeah.
active because I got things to do,
Right,
but
right.
everybody in there, from the patch stack team, there's other people in there. Everybody's talking the security, like, oh, would you see this? Oh, this better get patched. And it's all towards helping get the word out about like a vulnerability that might need attention or an attack that needs attention, that kind of stuff, that kind of collaboration. It's for the good of the community. And that's really how you build a brand. You don't build a brand by tearing down someone else. You don't build a
Mm-mm.
brand by being like holding your cards too close to the vest and not like being sharing of information, keeping that everything hush hush, so that you build a brand by constantly being of service. It's not a, oh, flash in the pan, we went viral and now all of a sudden we're a big huge brand. It's like consistently show up and be of service to the people who need you, and that trust just, and then if you have a bug or something goes wrong and QA should have caught something, that kind of stuff. Your audience is so much more forgiving of you because you have that consistent track record of being of service and being open and helping your competitor if there's something, that kind of thing. And I think those brands that do that well and collaborate well, even with competitors, are the ones that are successful, at least in my opinion.
The phrase or the saying or whatever, a rising tide lifts all boats,
right,
comes to mind a lot working in the WordPress space, because the boats aren't just our companies, the boats are all of our customers as well.
right.
And so when we contribute to the whole ocean, then everybody benefits by not being left on the sandbar or whatever. I'm going way too far with the metaphor, but you understand.
There was actually a project called Tide, a WordPress.org project called Tide, and it was the rising tide lifts all boats, and it was committed to code quality across all plugins, because WordPress and being in this open source space is really interesting because you've got like 60,000 plugins in the repo alone. You've got Code Canyon plugins, you got plugins to the left, plugins to the right, plugins everywhere, and various coding standards that aren't necessarily, some of them are like top notch and some maybe not so much. That's why we see plugin vulnerability so much, just because there is that wide array of different types of ways of coding things and misunderstandings about certain things in the code. Like, is admin, you see that, oh, well, that looks like a test to see if someone's admin. No, it's not. It's a test to see if it's an admin page. And so then people use it wrong, and then vulnerabilities happen, that kind of stuff. So how do we raise the coding standards across everyone who creates a plugin for the repo, for sale, premium plugins even? And so, but that was the philosophy, a rising tide lifts all boats. So if we establish some standards, that has a trickle down effect into all of the various people who are creating plugins, and then that raises all of the boats in the harbor, that all of our sites and various hosting providers.
That's right.
It's good for everyone, because I'll tell you, I don't know a single hosting provider it's like, hey, yeah, let's look at some bad plugins, put them on my server, let's see what happens. No, they don't want that either. Nobody does, right?
Right.
So
exactly. And just like there are a million hosting companies, there are a lot of hosting companies, there are a lot of WordPress podcasts. You and I are on a couple of them, or several of them. And I would never say to somebody, listen to this one, not that one, because WP Motivate is an entirely different podcast than the Cadence Beat or WP Coffee Talk or This Week in WordPress or any of them. They're all bringing different information and different voices. And so I always tell people, every podcast isn't for everybody. You might be like, oh, this is boring, I don't get it or whatever. Or you may think my voice is grating and you don't want to listen to anything that has Michelle Frechette in it. Whatever, find something that feeds your soul, and that you enjoy or that you learn from, that edifies you in some way. Listen to those ones. I'm not offended if you don't like my podcast. I mean, it's not, I've always said I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So find things that work for you. You don't like one hosting company, switch to a different one. You don't like one plugin, find a different one. There's lots of ways to contribute to the community without disparaging anybody else. And the truth is, the people who are good community members lift each other up constantly.
Yes. Yep. Got a lot of those.
We
a
do.
lot of the other kind too.
We do.
But I just, gravitate against, away from, I mean, well, some people might like that kind of stuff. Happy for you, I mean, I think there's room for everybody in this community. And I think that's really makes it, that diversity of opinion, the diversity of perspective, backgrounds, needs. implementations, like there's people who are doing amazing stuff with like photography websites, and other people who are doing courses, and other people who are like making some major cash with WooCommerce, all sorts of different things that people are
Yeah.
doing with WordPress, and that diversity of experience. And there's so much to learn. And that's one of the things I love about it.
Yeah, me too. And I think that we all get motivated by different things. So even the people who are negative are motivating somebody to do something, right? And so,
Sure.
I mean, I'm guessing some people get motivated by criticism, right? You're going to tell me how bad something is, I'm going to make it better. That's kind of what I mean. Not necessarily like putting everybody down all the time, but we're all motivated by different things. And I think that it's one of the ways that we are a community of people. And are there some bad apples? Yeah, of course, there's always going to be bad apples in any community. But don't focus on that. Focus on the people who are doing good things and the people that inspire you.
Yeah. There's a quote by Teddy Roosevelt, I think, about the man in the arena. Of course, it was turn of the century, so it was all men back then, right? But it was the man in the arena, the one that's actually like doing the work, the one that's actually creating something of value. You can't pay attention to the haters, because the haters are gonna always, well, it sounds like a Taylor Swift song now. It's haters are gonna hate, right? There's always going to be those who criticize, but the ones who are spending all their time criticizing and the ones who are tearing down others are not the ones who are creating. Because if you're creating, you're too busy for that. You've got your focus, who you're serving, what you're doing, you've got your plans. Just grind on it, get it done, serve your customers, and those haters are going to find somebody else to hate. So
Yeah, rise
they're
above.
always going to be there.
That's right. Absolutely. So yeah, I don't know how to wrap this up. I just thought it was a cool topic. I'm like, I don't know where to go from
Yeah.
here. But yeah, I just think go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think WordPress is unique and successful because of that collaboration over competition mentality that so many in the space have. I think I think that's one of the reasons it will continue to be the CMS of choice, is because, I don't see any Wix camps anywhere.
No, I think Weebly is a thing of the past, right? Is that even still around?
Oh, is that
Squarespace, I guess, still is. I don't know. But
oh,
you're right. There's no Squarespace camps or Wix camps or
no.
and Wix camp just doesn't sound good anyway. WordCamp sounds so much better, but
Yeah,
yeah.
so much more fun too.
Can I also take a brief moment? We are not sponsored. Actually, we're not sponsored by anybody. Like, we are our own thing. We don't have any sponsors at this point. We're not asking for sponsors. But when I say this, I'm saying it because we're not sponsored by Castos. We host on Castos. And I just want to say Castos has recently made accessibility easier by no longer charging for their transcripts. And that is another way to be part of the rising tide that lifts all boats, is offering things that make your activities more available to other people. And I just wanted to say thank you to them, because we save money. We pay for stuff for this podcast, right? Like, yeah, we have free hosting because people host us and that kind of thing, but we pay for for Castos, and we pay for transcripts and things like that, and we no longer have to do that. So I just kind of wanted to give a quick shout out and say that when you have the opportunity to make things better for others, and you can find a way to do it to make it accessible to everybody, that's also a wonderful thing. So I just said it's not a commercial exactly, but it is a heartfelt thank you to them for making it easier for us to be available to other people as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Castos.
Yeah, thank you, Castos. I don't know what our schedule looks like next week. We're gonna have to record early next week because I got WordCamp Rochester coming up next week. Super excited about that. So we'll try to get an episode in before that all hits. If you have ideas, things that you think we should be talking about, remember, we keep it positive around here. Drop us a line, hit us up anywhere that you know that we are, and we're happy to take your ideas and move things forward. But if you are listening to us, we assume that you are one of the people that contributes in a positive way to making that tide raise all the boats up. And we thank you for being such good community members. Kathy, thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate working with you and the positivity that you bring into my life. So thank you.
And the jokes.
Oh gosh, the jokes.
I want credit for my jokes.
Your jokes are like when people write LOL, I only write it to Kathy when it actually happens because it's like I'm constantly like trying not to spit out my coffee on my keyboard when she sends me something funny. So yeah, so thank you for that too.
You are too
Appreciate that.
kind. It's such a pleasure working with you, Michelle, and all that you do for the community. You are a
Likewise.
machine. I don't know how you do it, but
Yeah,
I just sit in awe. Thank you so much.
I don't have all the things in my life going on that you do in yours, so I have time. That's what I tell people. It's so true. But anyway, so I don't know what day it'll be, but we'll be recording next week, and we will see you all then. Thank you so much. Until then, we'll see you later.
Bye.
This has been WP Motivate with Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. To learn more or to sponsor us, go to WPMotivate.com.